You woke at 4 in the morning with your heart racing. It wasn't a nightmare, it wasn't anxiety, it was something else. A strange, almost electric sensation, as if something inside you had been plugged into an outlet you never knew existed. You walked to the mirror, looked at your own face, and something was different. Not in the shape, in the eyes. There was a weight there that hadn't been there a few weeks ago. A weight that isn't sadness, isn't ordinary tiredness. It's something you don't yet have words to name. Lately, your body has been giving signals you didn't ask for and don't know how to interpret. That food you always loved now makes you feel unwell. That person you saw every week now leaves you exhausted just from talking. That noisy environment that once felt completely normal now irritates you in a way you yourself don't understand. And there's a fatigue settled deep within you, not the fatigue of someone who didn't sleep. It's something else. It's the fatigue of someone carrying something very heavy inside, something that still has no name. And the voice in your head says, you're getting sick, you're weak, you're not taking care of yourself. But what if that voice is completely wrong? What if everything you're feeling, each symptom, each reaction, each new sensitivity, isn't a sign of collapse, but a sign of consecration? Stay with me until the end of this, because what I'm going to show you today will completely change how you interpret what is happening in your body. And I'm not talking about pretty theory or superficial self-help spirituality. I'm talking about a truth that has already transformed the lives of thousands of people who were exactly where you are now, confused, exhausted, and about to give up on themselves without understanding they were one step away from something extraordinary. You are not getting sick, you are being prepared. And the difference between these two narratives can change everything in your life from today. Let's start at the beginning. Because to understand what is happening to you, I need you to understand a concept that will seem simple, but carries immense depth. The human body is not just biology, it is a temple. And every temple, when it is about to receive attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you. And strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment. Something sacred needs to undergo a renovation. Think about it. Have you ever seen construction happening in an old building? It's messy. It's dusty. It's noisy. It's exposed structure, open walls, installations laid bare. Someone passing by on the street who doesn't know what's happening thinks, "What a horror, this building is falling apart." But someone who understands the process knows this building is being renewed for something much greater than it was before. The chaos is temporary. The work has a blueprint, it has an architect, and it has a completion date. That is exactly what is happening with you. Your body is the building, and God is the architect who decided the time for renovation has come. But here is the central problem. No one warned you that renovation would look like destruction. No one prepared you for the symptoms of transformation. And so, when they arrived, you ran to Google, to the doctor, to friends, and the narrative that came back was the narrative of fear. There's something wrong with you. Today I've come here to give you the narrative of faith, the narrative of spiritual science, the narrative of someone who understands that body and spirit are not separate, they communicate all the time. And when the spirit is undergoing an upgrade, the body feels every line of code being rewritten. Let's talk about something concrete, because you deserve more than pretty words. Did you know the human nervous system is literally capable of being reconfigured? Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity. It's the brain's ability to create new connections, deactivate old circuits, reorganize entire networks based on experiences, traumas, beliefs, and, yes, deep spiritual practices. Researchers from places like Harvard, such as neuroscientist Sarah Lazar, have found that people who practice deep meditation and contemplative prayer show physical, measurable changes in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. The structure of the organ changes. Literally. It's not a poetic metaphor. It's an MRI showing that spirit transforms matter. Now think about what that means for you. If your spiritual life is going through a turning point, if you are being called to a higher level of purpose, of mission, of surrender to something greater, your nervous system will feel it. It will react. It will literally reorganize itself. And this process of reorganization has visible, physical, concrete symptoms. There are nights of insomnia for no apparent reason. There is an increased sensitivity to environments, to people, to foods. There is a fatigue that goes beyond the physical. There is a restlessness that isn't clinical anxiety. It's an internal calling that hasn't yet found its marching orders. This has a name in the Christian spiritual tradition. The mystics called it the dark night of the soul. John of the Cross described this process with startling accuracy over 400 years ago. He said that when God decides to purify a soul, to bring it to a higher level of divine intimacy, the initial feeling is one of abandonment, of emptiness, of loss of everything that once sustained and gave meaning. It is not punishment. It is preparation. Now I want to look at each of these symptoms with you, one by one, and show you what they really mean. Because you didn't come here just to hear philosophy. You came because you are feeling something. And that something deserves to be named with clarity. The first symptom is the night awakening. You wake between 2 and 4 in the morning without knowing why. Your heart is racing. Your mind is lit up like a screen turned on in a dark room, and you lie there looking at the ceiling, unable to sleep, trying to understand what is happening. In traditional Chinese medicine, the time between 2 and 4 a.m. is associated with the liver meridian, the organ responsible for deep emotional processing and the release of energetic toxins accumulated throughout the day, the week, a lifetime. When the body is in a process of intense purification, it uses this specific time to work on what it cannot process during the noise of the day. In the Hebraic tradition, this is the time the prophets called the fourth watch. It is the hour of intersection between the natural and the supernatural. It was at this hour that God called Samuel by name 3 times. It was in this watch that Peter saw Jesus walking on the water. It was in this window of silence that many of the greatest revelations in sacred history happened. When you wake at this hour, instead of fighting desperately for sleep, try doing something different. Be still. Take a deep breath. And ask a simple question in the silence. What do you want to tell me? You might be surprised by what comes. The second symptom is the growing intolerance to certain people and environments. You are noticing that some situations, some places, some people that were once completely normal to you now feel unbearable. You leave a meeting with a particular person and feel literally drained, as if someone pulled a plug and emptied all your energy. And you feel guilty about it because that person didn't do anything objectively wrong. But here is what science and spirituality fascinatingly agree on. When your energetic field is being elevated, it begins to detect incompatibilities that previously went completely unnoticed. It's exactly like when you calibrate a precision instrument. It starts registering noise and interference that the uncalibrated instrument simply didn't perceive. It's not that the noise appeared from nowhere. It's that now you have enough sensitivity to detect it. Physicist David Bohm spent decades studying the concept of energetic coherence, the idea that systems operating at different vibrational frequencies literally interfere with each other in measurable ways. It's not self-help mysticism, it's quantum physics, it's mathematics applied to the reality of human encounter. So when you feel that a particular person completely exhausts you, it's not your weakness, it's not judgment. It's your internal system, now more sensitive and calibrated, detecting a frequency that is not aligned with your emerging mission. Now pay attention, because this point is important. This does not give you license for arrogance or for cutting people out of your life with coldness and without discernment. What this symptom asks of you is wisdom. It is learning to manage your energy as the sacred resource it is. It is setting boundaries that are not walls of pride, but limits of purpose. In practice, this means you no longer need to be everywhere, with everyone all the time. You can and should choose more carefully where you place your presence, because where you are present, you bring something. And what you bring now is too precious to be wasted. The third symptom is the change in food sensitivities. You, who once ate anything without a problem, now have reactions to certain foods. Bloating, discomfort, a hard-to-describe feeling that it simply doesn't agree with you anymore. There is a fascinating biological explanation for this. The human gut houses over 100 million neurons, a neural density so impressive scientists call it the second brain. And this second brain is extremely sensitive to changes in the emotional, hormonal, spiritual, and energetic state of the organism. When you are undergoing a deep transformation, the gut microbiota, the bacteria inhabiting your digestive system, literally reorganizes. And this reorganization can temporarily create sensitivities that never existed before. But there is also a powerful spiritual dimension to this. Throughout the Bible, every time someone was being prepared for a greater mission, there was a change in dietary pattern. Daniel refused to eat the king of Babylon's food and asked only for vegetables and water. And at the end of the testing period, he and his companions were visibly healthier and wiser than all the others who ate from the royal table. When your body begins to reject certain foods, pay attention. Not with paranoia or obsession, with curiosity and reverence. Perhaps your temple is telling you, in physical language, what no longer serves the new season you are about to inhabit. The fourth symptom, and perhaps the heaviest of all, is the deep fatigue that sleep simply doesn't resolve. Because when you sleep 8 hours and wake up tired, despair hits in a particular way. You think, there's something very wrong with me. But there is a crucial distinction no one taught you, and it can change everything. There is the fatigue of the body, and there is the fatigue of the soul. And the fatigue of the soul is not resolved with sleep. It is resolved with meaning. Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps and founded logotherapy, discovered something that changed psychology forever. A human being can endure any level of physical suffering if they have a clear and true why. But when meaning is lost, when you no longer know where you are going, what your mission is, what justifies the cost of your existence, you enter a state of exhaustion that goes far beyond the physical, an exhaustion that no bed can cure. This fatigue you are feeling may be exactly that signal. Your inner being has reached the absolute limit of the old mode of operating. It can no longer function on autopilot. It is asking, actually screaming, for a renewal of purpose, for a new direction, for a reason for being that is greater than the routine you've built until now. And here comes the part few have the courage to say, the fatigue may actually be a divine mercy. Because when you are too exhausted to continue at the frantic pace of before, you are forced to stop, to sit, to listen, to be still in the presence of that which is infinitely greater than you. It was when Elijah was so exhausted he asked to die under a tree in the desert that the angel of the Lord appeared, not with more demands, not with more requirements, with food, with water, and with the most therapeutic phrase in the entire Bible: "Arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you." God was not disappointed with Elijah's exhaustion. He was responding to it with active, concrete care. Now I need you to take a deep breath, because I'm going to tell you something that may be hard to hear, but is absolutely necessary for your integrity. Part of what you are feeling is real, is spiritual, is transformation, and another part, depending on your specific situation, may need medical attention. And these two things do not contradict each other. They coexist. Spirituality and medicine are not enemies. A good doctor can be an instrument of God. A blood test can be a divine revelation. Caring for your body with quality sleep, proper nutrition, regular movement, medical follow-up when necessary is not a lack of faith. It is sacred responsibility for the temple you have been given to inhabit. So, get the tests. Care for your body seriously. And at the same time, don't let the medical narrative be the only narrative available to you. Don't let a report reduce everything you're experiencing to a simple physical diagnosis. When there is a spiritual dimension, no equipment can measure. You can and should hold both things at once. Caring for the body with responsibility and recognizing God's work within it. Now let's talk about the heart of all this. The process of consecration. In the biblical tradition, to consecrate means to set something apart for exclusively sacred use. When an object was consecrated in the Temple of Jerusalem, it went through a rigorous process of purification. It was washed, anointed with special oil, presented before the altar, and after this consecration, it could no longer be used for common purposes. It was set apart, it was holy. This process is happening with you now. And here is what no one told you about consecration. It hurts. Because setting something apart for sacred use means separating it from everything that is familiar, from everything that is common, from everything that constituted your comfort zone. And you grew accustomed to the common. You know the rules of the game you were playing. You know how to function at the level you were at. And suddenly, the rules changed. The game changed. And the discomfort you feel in your body is, in part, the discomfort of detaching from what was familiar to embrace what is sacred. Think of the story of Moses. When he went up Mount Sinai the second time and spent 40 days immersed in the presence of God, he came down with something no one expected. The skin of his face radiated visible light. The glory of God had literally permeated his flesh. The Israelites were afraid to approach him. Aaron and the leaders drew back. The glory on Moses' face was so intense, he needed to cover his face with a veil to communicate with the people. What does this tell us? That genuine encounter with the divine leaves physical marks. That glory transforms the body as much as it transforms the soul. That when you spend enough time in the presence of that which is infinite, the finite within you inevitably begins to reconfigure. You are in that process now. And there is something more that needs to be said honestly. This process does not happen in a linear, organized way. It is not like climbing a ladder where each step is clearly higher than the last and progress is always visible. Consecration happens in a spiral. You advance, and suddenly you find yourself back at a point you thought you had completely overcome. An old insecurity reappears. An ancient fear knocks at the door. A weakness you judged conquered returns with force. And you think, I failed, I regressed, I'm not evolving. But that's not it. It's that the spiral has risen to a new level, and that same pattern is now being worked on at a deeper layer of your soul. Like a surgeon who needs to operate deeper to remove a root that in previous surgeries was only cut at the surface. The pain is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that the operation is becoming more precise, more complete, more definitive. Each time you encounter the same limitation at a deeper level, it is because God trusts that you now have enough spiritual maturity to deal with it once and for all. Not to endure it again, but to finally release it from the root. There is a woman in the Bible whose story moves me every time I think of her. Hannah, the mother of the prophet Samuel. Hannah was barren. In a time and culture where motherhood was literally the measure of a woman's value to society, she had no children, and she suffered profoundly, a suffering that was not just physical, it was emotional, social, spiritual. It was a weight carried in all dimensions of her being. To make it worse, there was Peninnah, the other wife of her husband Elkanah, who had children and provoked her with it. Year after year, visit after visit to the temple, the calculated cruelty of someone who knows exactly where the wound hurts most. One day, Hannah went to the temple at Shiloh, and there she did something the priest Eli completely misinterpreted. She was so surrendered, so beyond herself in that prayer, that her lips moved, but no sound came out. She wept. She was in anguish. And Eli, seeing this, concluded she was drunk and rebuked her publicly. But she wasn't drunk. She was in spiritual labor. That inner anguish Hannah lived, that physical agony that showed on the outside, was not a sign of weakness or of divine abandonment. It was a sign that something was about to be born. And Samuel, who would become the greatest prophet and judge in Israel's history, was born from that agony that seemed shameful. Your current suffering may be the labor pains of your promise. It's not a pretty metaphor to console you. It's a real process. It's real pain with real purpose. Let me show you one more example that will make immediate sense for what you are living. The woman with the issue of blood, recorded in the Gospels of Mark and Luke. She had been bleeding for 12 years. 12 years of a symptom no doctor of the time could cure. 12 years of expenses that consumed all her resources. 12 years of attempts, of hopes raised and dashed, of shame. And beyond the physical pain, there was the immense social weight. By Jewish law, she was considered unclean. She could not touch anyone. She could not frequent the temple. It was as if she were trapped in a bubble of involuntary exclusion. One ordinary day, Jesus passed by the street where she was. There was a huge crowd around him, and she did something that required extraordinary courage. Transgressing all the rules that defined her as unclean, she approached from behind and touched the edge of his garment, and she was healed instantly. But what stops me is not just the healing, it's what happened next. In the middle of that crowd, pressing from all sides, Jesus stopped and asked, "Who touched me?" The disciples were astonished. "Teacher, the crowd is pressing in on you from all sides, and you ask, 'Who touched me?'" But Jesus insisted, "Someone touched me. I felt power go out from me." He felt it in his body. One specific touch in a sea of people touching at the same time, and he felt the difference. He distinguished the touch of desperate faith from the simple jostling of the crowd. This is what is happening with you. Your body is being calibrated to operate at that level of divine precision, to feel what truly matters, to distinguish what is of God from what is merely noise, to know, even before the conscious mind processes the situation, what belongs to your mission and what does not. Your increased sensitivity is not fragility. It is divine precision in active development. Now I need to ask you a direct question, because I know you're hearing all of this and a part of you is hopeful. But another part is still hesitant, still asking if this is real or just a beautiful story to make you feel better. That hesitant part asks, "But how do I know the difference? How do I know if this is transformation or if it's simply sickness that I'm romanticizing?" It's an honest question, and it deserves an honest answer. The difference lies in what accompanies the symptoms. When it is merely sickness without a spiritual dimension, what predominates is absolute emptiness. The feeling that life has lost all meaning. an isolation that has not a single thread of hope, the total absence of any inner spark. But when it is spiritual transformation, even in the midst of the deepest exhaustion, even in the midst of the most real pain, there is something more. A spark of inexplicable expectation, a persistent feeling that something is about to happen, dreams more vivid than normal, coincidences that feel like messages directed specifically to you, verses that leap off the page as if they were written for your situation today, this specific week. Are you feeling this? If so, if in the middle of all the confusion, the weariness and the uncertainty there is still a spark you cannot extinguish, then you already know the answer. You just needed permission to believe it. So what do you do with all of this? How do you actively collaborate with this process instead of resisting it or simply waiting for it to pass? The first step is to stop fighting what your body is saying. Instead of taking sleep medicine when you can't sleep at 2 in the morning, try to listen. Bring a notebook to your bedside. Write down anything that comes. An image, a phrase, a sensation, a name. The insights that arrive in that early morning hour are often the most precise and the most transformative. The second step is to review your relationships with new and honest eyes. Not to judge, not to cut people off coldly and without discernment, but to be brutally honest about who nourishes you and who drains you, and to begin managing your energy as the sacred resource it is. You do not have infinite energy. You are human, inhabiting a physical body with real limits, and where you place your presence matters immensely. The third step is to listen to what your body is asking for in terms of nourishment, not with obsession or paranoia, with curiosity and openness. If a certain food is causing a consistent reaction, eliminate it for a period and observe what happens. Your gut, your second brain, is also a spiritual instrument. The fourth step is to rest without guilt. And I know this is probably the most difficult for most people over 35 in this culture, because you grew up in a society that glorifies productivity above all else. That taught you that resting is laziness. That made you feel guilty for stopping, for not always producing, always being available, always performing. But rest is sacred. The Sabbath in the Hebrew calendar was not an optional suggestion, it was a divine command. Because God understood that the human being needs a pause to integrate what has been lived, needs silence to hear what has been spoken, needs repose so the transformation can solidify within before taking the next step. The fifth step is to create a space for meeting with the sacred every single day. It doesn't need to be an hour. It can be 15 minutes. But it's 15 minutes where you disconnect from the external noise, from the phone, notifications, demands, and connect with the internal silence. It can be contemplative prayer. It can be meditation. It can be simply sitting in a quiet place and saying in a low voice, "I am here, you may speak." The sixth step is to document your journey. Start writing, even if it's half a page a day, what you are feeling, what you are noticing, what is changing within you. Because the transformation process has layers that only become visible when you look back from a distance. 6 months from now, when you reread what you wrote today, you will be astonished at the distance traveled. You will see patterns that are now invisible. You will understand connections that today seem completely random. A spiritual journal is not frivolous. It is a map. It is the record of the path God is tracing in your life, written in your own words. There is an image that has accompanied me for a long time and that I need to leave with you before we finish. When a goldsmith works with raw gold, the first and indispensable step is to place the metal in the fire. The fire does not destroy the gold. It never destroys the gold. It destroys the impurities that are mixed with the gold. And as the heat increases, those impurities rise to the surface of the molten metal, where they can be seen and removed by the skilled hand of the artisan. The goldsmith knows the process is complete when they can see their own reflection in the bright, clear surface of the purified metal. You are the gold. The fire is the process you are going through right now, and the impurities rising to the surface. The old fears you thought you had overcome, the patterns that no longer serve, the limiting beliefs you inherited, the relationships that drain without nourishing. They are not destroying you. They are being identified and removed from you forever. And the goldsmith, the one who conducts the process with hands that know exactly the right temperature, who never leaves the metal in the fire a moment longer than necessary, has an eye on you the entire time, with an attention that does not waver and a care that does not fail. Share this video with that person you know is going through the same process, confused, exhausted, thinking they are failing, considering giving up on themselves, because they need to hear what you heard today. And your act of sharing may be exactly what they needed to not give up. If you are not yet subscribed to this channel, subscribe now and hit the bell, because every week there is new content here to help you navigate this transformation process with more clarity, more faith, and more practical wisdom. And leave in the comments which of these attention you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise, learn to spot distractions before they control you, and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuzazara readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.